kills, it was just chalk and cheese between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, Jack just then was 10-11 going into the second P1, and all of a sudden he pops a 9 streak, gets that Hellstorm that it wasn't really too much use for his team, but it's kind of a bit of a confidence boost, isn't it? When you know you've had that Hellstorm, you know you're on the 8-9 kill streak with a bit, not hill time for his case actually, I'm going to take that one back, but you know it's going to be a bit of confidence boost, and there it is.
Yeah.
Fist bumps around.
Fist bumps all around. I mean, if you are 22 Esports off the back of that, I mean, let's not really try and kind of cover it up. It was a bit of a battering in the second half of that, but one thing that they can be kind of confident with is that their Search and Destroy has looked very, very good throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
And 22 are probably looking at that one going, right, okay, we're going to have to, if we're going to do any damage really to this X-Force Eagles roster, we're going to have to do it, especially in Search.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Flux boys just a minute ago kind of looked like Div 10s on the map, didn't they, in the Search against this 22 team, maybe even Div 12s if that was the thing, but 12-1 in the last, well, they've dropped 12 out of the last 13 S&D rounds they've played on the main stage this afternoon. X-Force Eagles, though, have got a lot of S&D heads up between them.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not. This is the thing with the X-Force Eagles roster. They don't really have much of a weakness. Obviously, I think the only, how many maps have they now lost? Is it 3 or is it just the 2 that they lost to Curse?
Yeah, I think
it's just the 2 against Curse. So, yeah, when you've got a team that's gone the whole tournament and dropped 2 maps, yeah, it's a bit brutal if you're a team coming up against them. But again, they can be beaten. It's just a case of you've got to stitch everything together at the right moment in order to take this team down. And
that's where it started, wasn't it? If you think back to that game earlier on that we watched between X-Force and between Cursed, it was that map 2 that actually they did drop, and that's what allowed Cursed to start to come back into the series. However, we obviously know how that one ended, knowing which team is sat in front of us.
Yep. So hopefully we can get in towards map number 2 relatively shortly, as it will be an exposure, search and destroy. There you go.
Yeah, ask and you receive. And again, we're going to see 22. We've just watched them on the exposure. They won 6-1. It'll be interesting to see kind of if X-Force kind of took any notes, kind of watched that 22 game, now playing this exact same map. We know what Roland was capable of on that map. He had an ace, he had a 1v2 back-to-back rounds, so you're going to be looking at him kind of as a difference maker here. We know that Jackal did have a sniper in the opening round and none of the rounds since, so it'll be interesting to see if we see any of the same kind of play calls from 22, or X-Force can be able to blind read them quite well.
Yeah, and I think, if memory serves me well, I think 22 were keen at kind of utilising smokes over towards that site as well, over towards top solo, just making sure that that person top plat doesn't really get much info and has to kind of push it out in order to get an angle onto anyone trying to push up towards the site. So first round is now underway. Jackal, there you go, Con. It's almost like you've done this before, mate. Sniper out, top ring, same strat, really.
He has put the sniper away, and that's a good thing that, if you didn't know, 15 seconds into round, if you don't use your utils or shoot your gun, you can swap your class. So he tried with the sniper, saw there was no one going to challenge it, and just decided to put it away because we know how advantageous it is to have that AR rather than the sniper later on in the round.
Yep, and Deeks with the bomb in hand. He's just going to wait before pushing up a little bit. Gets a little bit of info onto the player up towards the top side of P3. They are going to just back down ever so slightly, X-Force Eagles. It looks as though they're relatively comfy in giving them a lot of mid-map control here. And there's the first pick coming through from Meg as the screams are just confirmed.
Yeah, good headshots onto Jack there to shut him down. They're kind of a man at the moment. And that man, Matt Blake, actually had the sniper out there. 3 shots he took with that sniper, none of them connecting. It's a 2 versus 4. A stun out onto another player as well. So this is going to be Quinn now. It was a 1 versus 4. He gets the first one, makes it 1 versus 3. So he's going to back up. He's going to take some time. He has got both weapons to use. He's got another kill. So that's a 1 versus 2 now. He's got the info onto player 2. That was Jackal, but Jackal has made the right decision. He's going to back up and hold Deeks' hand. They're going to kind of play this together and try and work a trade.
Yeah, you would anticipate that they've planted it for that P5 side, so they should be able to at least gain the info of when he's on the bomb. Jackal going to work that route, though, over towards Long, and he's going to surely see him at any second now. Yeah, he does spin around, so Quinn makes it a 1 versus 1. He's only got 13 seconds left to work with. Deeks just has to do the smart thing, shoulder it, play the info. He's done it pretty much near on perfectly. The bomb is going to be in his line of sight. There's nothing that Quinn can do through all of his efforts. He would have needed the ace and the defuse to go with that round, so very good work from Deeks.
I mean, there was a few heads in hands, though, when that third kill came through. Luckily, Deeks kind of playing smart. I mean, he has been around long enough, I'm sure he'll tell you that himself, but he knows what to do in that kind of situation, not give him anything. You did see Quinn there try and kind of lay down, see if he could stretch the bomb slightly out of that P5 view, but he wasn't able to do so in with what the GAs are, where you can't just slide and take the bomb to the opposite side of it, trying to lay down and find the furthest point he can start to defuse from.
So 22 Esports, a plant and a round on the board. Let's see if X-Force Esports, or X-Force Eagles, yeah, there you go, I was going to say, 22 Esports. See if they can opt to do a similar play. They're going to opt to try and smoke straight down mid, and in goes Quinn again, looking to try and slip through the net. There is going to be a pick already on the board for Solder Milan, and there's a second that comes through from Jack, so they are really flying up the map here, but instantly a couple of trades coming through. The A-bomb plant is going down. Jackal is going to play for a little bit of information. The stun check comes through. He now knows that the bomb does go down. It's just a case of where this next pick lies.
I'll be intrigued to know whether that was a stun check onto one player, or did he actually tag both of them with it, depending on where through the stun he might have been able to get the player onto the A-bomb checked as well. But they're going to know the bomb was there now with the 2 versus 2. But what I don't really like from 22 is they split. They're really trying to play their ones here, so it can work well for them, but depending on how this goes, it might be bad. It's going to work out well. Jackal gets great timing onto Blake, and that's going to leave Jack now in a 1 versus 2 situation. They do not know. They don't have the info on where Jack is. This is a brilliant play from Jack. I don't want to say it too loudly with the 22 team just being right next to us there, but the shots coming through. No players hop the bomb in time, or they have, but Jack bides his time, and great work from him in the end.
Yeah, well, we've just had 2 rounds of clutch up play there to tie it back up at 1 apiece. He obviously played the patient game for a second as he got a couple of shots in. Wasn't quite able to finish the first kill straight away, but you can see with the time that was left, they had to hop the bomb 22, and Jack, just playing that slowly, playing it carefully, was able just to pick apart the remaining 2 players. Really smart work there in both of these first opening rounds.
Yeah, that's kind of the experience kind of on this stage. I know it's the first LAN for some of these players, but you're already kind of seeing that S&D experience from Jack, and you know how much S&D brain is on that X-Force team, but also 22 in the round before with Deeks burnt the wheel that time and doing the exact same play, and it's worked out for both defensive sides so far. It might be coming down to which team can actually snatch that offense first.
So let's see what X-Force Eagles decide to do on the second ask of their defensive rounds. A little bit of information is going to be exchanged across the map. You've got to be careful of Deeks though. He's managed to slip straight through mid, and obviously there's the first pick, and it's going to grant him that first blood. So it's going to be a 4 versus 3 right off the rip here, and it looks as though Blake's going to be chased here with a pistol in hand, and unfortunately that is not the weapon that you want. They are going to reply with 1 kill from Quinn, and it's now a 2 versus 3.
Yeah, bomb is still in the hands, in the capable hands of Roland as well, but the players are split across the map. Apart from here, Jack this time trying to get the good timing onto Jackal. Is the other way around in the previous round, with Jackal getting good timing down to P5. Both players somehow still alive. Bomb looks like it's going to be worked towards the A side now by Roland, but he's still got Quinn playing in around this P3 area. He's going to check out that window potentially, and depending on where the player chooses to plant the bomb, I think he's going to plant it safe for that P5 now. It might be good as Jack will fall with a very smart play. Deeks 3 in the round looking for an ace.
Yeah, big one-on-one victory. Might not anticipate that remaining player still on the bomb, and that's a really smart play there from 22 Esports. So huge one-on-one gunfight over towards long. 22 Esports are able to win it. Obviously a 3 versus 1 situation, very, very difficult under any circumstances. But again, 22 Esports just looking very, very clean on offense.
Yeah, Deeks all 4 there coming through. And we kind of touched on a minute ago how the offensive team have been the one that have won all the rounds so far, and it's continuing to go that way. So it'll be interesting to see how the storyline plays out for the rest of the search between offense versus defense.
So Blake still awaiting his first pick, and Milan only on the 1 across the board on 22 Esports, littered with 2s, and it will now be X-Force Eagles back on the offense. It looks as though it's going to be this B push that a lot of teams opt to do. We'll see if they decide to try and utilise some smokes to go with it. A lot of nades over towards the top side. I don't know whether any actually landed on towards Roland, who was over towards Platt, so he's going to be the first point of engagement to play any sort of info. The trophy's going to help him out a little bit. He's got to be careful not to get pushed out too quickly. There's the smoke on towards Platt, which you anticipate, and now they've got all the site control.
B-bomb is being planted now in the capable hands of Blake. It's going to be a 4 versus 4 retake. You've got 22 really got control of their spawn, but you've got X-Force Eagles all pinned into this one small part of the map, all in around this solar panel part. They're going to have to play the trades, but all 3 arrows are looking in 3 different lanes. So depending on how 22 try to break this down, it might be that 1 kill at a time is all that's going to be needed. As the kills are now starting to come through, all info and all players has now been given up. It's a 1 versus 2. It's going to be Quinn. He's got the first player alive, first player killed, but with 18 seconds, he has to make sure they do not hop and defuse that bomb.
Oh my god, if he gets the pick and somehow maybe gets the second, he's not going to be able to. Meg is going to be able to get that pick, get that defuse, and it will be back-to-back rounds for the first time that we've seen in this map number 2. Really smart work from 22. They just slowly circled around the site. They didn't opt to fly in too quickly and get picked apart. Obviously, Deeks was just delaying his push around the back, wasn't able to get it, but by the time that he dropped, the rest of the X-Force Eagles had unfortunately dropped on site.
I think that's one of the worries there, because you kind of, if your X-Force did the right thing of stacking towards that solar side, but where you've got 3 players all watching the 3 different cut-offs, if one of you get killed early on, which is exactly what happened, the trade then did come through, but you give up another lane, and that just allowed 22 to collapse on the solar panels.
So 3-1, 22 Esports continuing their impressive performance on Search and Destroy. And let's see if they can go another round on offense to maybe push this lead out to 3. So Bomb in the hands of Meg this time, as opposed to Deeks. It looks as though it is going to be headed over that side. Deeks is going to be just playing information in towards mid. He is going to be backed up, though, courtesy of a stun. And now they look to try and work their way down towards this solar side. The next pick's going to be all important. They are still just playing it a little bit passively. And meanwhile, you've got an important bit of an engagement maybe going down towards P5. We aren't going to see it. The next gunfight looks as though it's going to be in the form of over towards Solar, and it's going to be a first blood again that comes through, and it will be 22 with the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we're just in there when we toggled on to Blake. He's actually put that sniper away, and a player like Blake doesn't usually start off an S&D 0-4, so I can understand why the decision has been made, but it's all 22 again towards this bomb site. But Blake does get his first game. It's going to be an important nade kill. It's actually going to be the player on towards B-bomb, but what they don't know is the bomb has been rotated through mid and over towards A. But Quinn with another huge kill, 7 on the map for him. A player that's 3-1 down, 7 kills is very important. There's a Creddy corner blade there from, that is going to be Deeks, and it's now going to be Meg and Deeks left in a 2 versus 1 against Quinn.
So Quinn's got a bit of deja vu here. He's had this similar situation where he's got to try and chase a few players and get the bomb defused. Already 20 seconds has clocked on here, but again, Quinn just playing it patiently. There's the first pick for him, so the information is there for Meg. All she's got to do is just make sure that that clock keeps ticking down and that he's not on the defuse. Quinn's still on the hunt, isn't going to find anything. Meg should be able to check bomb and make sure that he's not on it. She is going to... Oh, God, OK. Well, there's time to get the defuse, but... Well, it's 4-1, a little bit questionable, but he's 9-3, so I suppose you can do what you want at that point.
Yeah, he's currently got more kills than the rest of his team combined, and he's kind of single-handedly trying to G up the boys on X-Force to try and get them going back into this game, as they do now concede a 3-lead disadvantage.
So 22 at the moment. They just seem to be very, very good at getting those first picks and kind of subsequent trades off the back of them. X-Force really struggling at the moment with the kind of the numbers advantage that they get from that first blood. They're not really quite able to unwind, and obviously Blake is still, he's only on 1 kill, and across, like I say, across the board, when you've got 3 players combining for 6, it's not ideal for them. So next round, X-Force, really important offense.
Yeah, but this kind of goes to show what we said at the start of the S&D, that 22 have looked almost like a different team, especially in that S&D game mode, as you already see in the first blood coming through from, I think that was Roland with the first blood. Oh no, sorry, it's Meg with the first blood. It's going to be another one from Roland, but the trades are coming in. Roland gets 2 before falling. Blake left, and that is a very quick round to take 22 Esports 1 round away from leveling up our series in Grand Final.
It's another first blood. It feels like in the first 20 seconds. I can't remember the last time that I saw X-Force Eagles take a first kill on the map, and the quick pinch again coming through from that solar side is just going to isolate those players in towards mid, and they just pull them apart single-handedly, one at a time. So 22 now, they are 1 round away from a very, very one-sided search and destroy. And off the back of that first hardpoint, if anyone did miss it, it was 250 to 107 to X-Force Eagles. So they're literally reverse Unoing them at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, in terms of S&D scores compared to hardpoint, obviously there's a much smaller number, but kind of it's a similar line, isn't it? Where it's a complete blowout so far. X-Force really need to turn things around should they want to carry it on, and they're on the defensive side, which typically has not been good for them. The only round they did win was an offense earlier doors, so they're going to have to do a lot, but we're going to see a bit of a different play from 22. They're switching up the strat calls.
Oh, and Deeks' stun check doesn't actually tag Quinn, I don't believe, so if he's going to check this close right corner, we'll have to wait and see. But again, just playing it patiently, seeing if X-Force Eagles give him anything to bite on. You've still got 1 player as well all the way in the spawn. That's going to be Jackal, just waiting to see if anyone opts to try and wrap. But X-Force, similarly to what they were doing on Den, just very, very patient. They don't opt to try and pinch things too quickly, and the next engagement in mid is going to be everything. But again, it's going to be a first blood for 22 Esports, and now the numbers advantage yet again.
Yeah, that's Roland coming out on top, 9-5 now. He's extending his kills. Quinn still in this same corner. Is eventually going to be chowed out. There's a big kill coming through from Deeks now. A 2 versus 4. The info is in from Soldat, and Jack is now going to start to come and help him out, but the bomb is just going to be planted. Will he be able to sneak up into it? He will get the kill, but he will be traded out instantly. Jack with a 1 versus 3 to keep their map 2 dreams alive.
Oh, they know where Jack is. He's weak. He's gone. And wow, okay, well, the way map 1 went, I thought potentially that 22 Esports are going to struggle off the back of that map 1, but wow, their search and destroy just looks absolutely impeccable. You called it out before the game, X-Force, they're not exactly a slouch when it comes to search and destroy, but they have been single-handedly hammered on that map.
Yeah, I would not have on paper thought that was going to be a 6-1. I know 22 have looked good in their S&D, particularly this afternoon and this evening, but the X-Force Eagles maybe need to have a little think and go again. They do not want to go to that map 5, because all the confidence is going to be in 22's favour if we do end up seeing a map 5 now, isn't it? We've just 6-1 them. We've gone 6-0, 6-1, 6-1.
Yep.
That's their last 3 S&Ds.
Yeah. So The thing as well that 22 were just so good at doing, obviously they progressed up the map, but the amount of times they actually managed to get the bomb plant down as well, I think that was the other thing that X-Force Eagles just struggled with. They played it patiently, but they just weren't able to take the space in order to get the bomb down. We saw a few times when they tried to push through solos, they kind of got picked apart. It looked as though 22 just Ladies and gents, welcome back to the ESHUB Spring Invitational powered by AVNG. If you have missed the first 2 maps of the Grand Final, we can't really give you huge amounts of analysis on them for who's potentially going to take this, because after the first 2 maps, Connor, we've had one swing one way and then one swing literally back the other. Yeah,
it's been a very back and forth, kind of dominant from the Eagles in the respawn. 22 fighting back very well in the S&D. We're going to be previewing now, going into that kind of exposure overload where we know one team have got a lot of woes in that game mode. We know one team not dropping many maps across the event, but will that S&D maybe change it and give 22 a bit of momentum early on particularly, and maybe back the Eagles up against the wall, because they've not been in this position too many times this weekend, especially what are we now, 9 o'clock on a Sunday evening.
So the cans of Monster are flowing across pretty much all the desks, and or whether it's Red Bulls.
2 cans of Pringles on the 22 side. Sorry,
it's been a long day, mate. You've got a snack in you. But yeah, obviously the guys of X-Force Eagles are going to look to this map now and say, right, okay, this is our map, we need to take this one. I think it's just a case of getting towards business as usual, shrugging off that map too, which, again, bit of a hiccup because it was so very one-sided. 6-1 on that exposure was very, very good for 22 Esports. But yeah, we spoke about kind of the woes, I think, like you say, is probably the best words to describe it. 22 have struggled on this game mode, and X-Force look very, very good at it. So for the underdog in 22, they've really got to try and pull some magic out of somewhere, because they haven't had it so far this weekend.
I don't think their players will admit it on the 22 side. I definitely don't think any of the coaching staff or boys supporting them will admit it either. But I think subconsciously they're probably expecting to lose this map. Yeah. So if they do come out and take this map 3 and kind of shock everyone, maybe including themselves, that's really going to give them a big momentum push to take one more map and force a second best of 5 in that bracket reset. Obviously coming from the lowest side of the bracket all the way from losers round 1 last night and loser round 2 from 9 o'clock this morning. So it is going to be exposure overload. A bit of a slower one. Probably seeing a few more ARs, and the nade kills are going to be important, especially off break off here. It's going to be a wave of 4 needed to get the EMP, and another wave of 4 needed to capture it off the break initially, but it's just kills traded back and forth until Blake and Jack combine for 3, make that 4.
Well, there you go. The first pick actually came through for 22, courtesy of, I believe, Jackal. But unfortunately now they find themselves in a position where they are pinned a little bit back, and they've got to try and second-guess themselves here, because Jack is around the back, and Quinn is just absolutely tearing through players over towards that plat side, and that is everyone down, and that is pretty much a goal on the side.
I like that play from what Blake's just done there. He didn't just go and sprint straight through it. He waited a second, kind of waited for those spawns, making sure they're spawning 22 as far as possible, making sure his team is spawning close, because they know that point now resets towards P2. So they've still got this lead block at the front. That's going to be Blake off that cap, 3 streak and a cap, looking to make it 4 with a pistol. Does do so. The EMP is now going to be picked up. They're going to be sprinting it straight towards B. 2 players front to back. Need to go huge here, the back here.
Yeah, Quinn's tried to play at least one, but he's not going to be able to get it. They are going to play it patiently, and just like that, Soldat's going to push through, be the tip of the spear, and it is going to grant them that point. And unfortunately now, if you're 22 Esports, you're not even really prepared for where the ball resets. You've got Roland going in towards mid, and Deeks, I believe, is just flown out of P3. So you've got 2 players potentially in the open here for picking. Nice work though to take down Quinn. You've still got a bit of a standoff over towards the point, but that top mid control potentially going to be all important.
Yeah, 22, most importantly, they're dealt with Quinn, as you mentioned. They had to deal with the player that was pushed out in their spawn. That's what they failed to do after the first capture, which then enabled X4 to relay and get that second one. So they've now been able to slow the game back down, wait for this pressure to come through P5. It's the subs kind of dominating in the minute, which is not something you typically see on the exposure. Killfeed dominated by Dravex here initially off the P5, but 22 eventually going to look to pick up this EMP and try and get it into the opposing third.
Yeah, but look at this play from Jack. Oh, he's able to... No, he's not. He got the damage in, but didn't get the second kill to go with it, and it will actually grant X-Force Eagles that opportunity still to get up the map a little bit. They've not dealt with Deeks. They do now do that, and they are going to retrieve that device and potentially work it down towards the A site. But look at number 4 in Soldat. He's going to be over towards Zig, looking for potentially causing an upset. They do get a really important kill, though, and number 6, Jackal, is going to be caught sprawling over towards the point, and just like that, the quick transition that X-Force Eagles just grant themselves so often in this game mode is shown once again.
Yeah, 3-0. The half in the round is now only just happening, so it's still 2 minutes and 20 just about seconds ready to go. One more capture is looking likely here, and a 4-0 deficit at half time is not ideal if you're 22.
Well, there's going to be a lot of gunfights again in towards mid. The device, though, in the hands of Blake is gone, and there's a kill that comes through yet again for the guys of X-Force Eagles. They are just going to try and push around the side of the map. He's got to be careful not to headbutt too many players here, Roland. He falls, and there is going to be big two pieces flowing on the map now as Jackal gets a really big couple of kills to put himself on a 3 streak as he slowly works together a little bit of momentum. But it feels as though the woes of this game mode just continue to haunt 22 Esports. There's one big kill in response, but again, it's another trade, it's another cab, and that's going to be the end of the half. 4-0, bang.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much analysis to do. I mean, look at it. You can tell by the faces of the players, they're even a little bit shocked as to how easy that was there. I think I'll show that in the bottom right of your screen. You can see 22 just having a little bit of a chat about what's going on, kind of looking a bit confused as how are they 4-0 up and what's going wrong, what can we change going into this round. You might not necessarily now as 22 think, okay, let's get back in, let's get 5 captures in this second half, and maybe just think, okay, let's keep our heads, let's get the gun warm, let's try and get a few deads back in there. That's something we've not really heard on that 22 side in that round. Obviously they've been 4-0 down, they're losing a bit, but even when they were struggling a little bit earlier, you know, you're still hearing them keep that passion. Maybe that passion's starting to drain out of them after 12 hours of Call of Duty.
Yeah, it just felt like X-Force had so much control over Zig as well, and when you've got that control, you've got the ability to then wrap through Plat if anyone's going to try and work towards the B site on the defensive team when the other team's got the device, but at the same time you can wrap over towards A if you really want, and obviously block those spawns. So it's going to be a very, very difficult uphill battle now for the boys and girls of 22 Esports. The first round is done, the second round will now commence, and just again a little bit of just a slow opening into this one, but you're just waiting for the door to open and X-Force Eagles to potentially just fly straight in.
I mean, if you're X-Force, you don't even really need to worry too much about the EMP, particularly off the initial break here when you still got that 4 lead advantage. You're just worrying about making sure that 22 don't get complete map control and try and set up the relays that you set up on them so well in the opening of the first round.
Well, the device is going underneath. Are they going to make the reads? Oh, it's a really big kill, actually, to keep the device in the hands of Meg alive. But there's a big 2-piece that comes through, I believe, from Quinn. And there's another one from Quinn, 15 and 7 from him. He's now going to start to traverse up the map, and his teammate's going to try and actually work this over towards the B point. You have got Megano over towards the outer side of this solar area, but the pinch comes through again from Quinn. They clear the lane out. Up the map goes this man, Quinn. They've struggled to kill him all map long, and anyone who's going to try and take that device out of their hands is going to have to take it off of his. 5 in a row, 17 and 7, and this is looking absolutely brutal for 22.
Yeah, currently 22 being outslayed by 20 kills. Obviously it's an objective game mode, we're not worried about the kills too much, but when you're being outslayed by 20 kills and overload, it just shows that you haven't got that map control. And X-Force Eagles have been brilliant with that map control, not just kind of slowing down like we saw 22 do in our previous series, where in the overload they had the map control, just didn't have the EMP pushing up in the right times and kind of missed it at points. We're now starting to see Meg get a little bit loud. 3 kills in a row for her. They're starting to move this EMP towards B, but as soon as they go to do that, Jack shuts down that push and they're going to have to back up now.
Oh, was it Meg that got those kills? I couldn't quite tell. Yeah, 3 in a row for Meg, trying to work her way back towards at least evens for now, but her team struggles still continue. Not a single player on 22 currently even or positive, but they do have that device. It's just a question of what they opt to try and do with the possession of it, because you've got Blake pushing up towards mid. The knife in the hand isn't going to be ideal for him, bringing that to a gunfight, and now number 2 in Quinn going to try and work around here, but they are just turtling up here, and with the device being in one of the players' hands and Quinn potentially slipping through the net, and that's a gunfight there that they should not be winning, and unfortunately that's just the way this map has gone for them. There's an open goal over towards A. It's going to be 6-0.
And that just kind of sums up 22 Esports in this map number 3, doesn't it? They had possession of the EMP longer than we've seen the X-Force Eagles have possession at any given point, but where they just lost the map control those initial fights, as soon as they collect it, it was Meg that had it in her hands. She had to wrap back through mid. She then had no one in mid to help her. She then had to wrap back towards ring. All the players fall, and she's left the EMP for them right next to their own point.
Yeah, I think Quinn called in a strike, but I don't think he's actually seen any value. Oh no, there you go. And it's the only value he gets is his teammate Jack, so he's going to be very grateful for that one. But Blake still pushing up towards that side of the map. It is completely in the hands of X-Force Eagles, and it looks as though they're not going to be letting go of it anytime soon. Another couple of kills going in their favour. Blake working his way slowly towards streaks as well, which will probably just be the final nail in the coffin if they do opt to get it. 6-0 with 1 minute 40. We were talking about the maths on this one, Connor. It's going to be very, very tight already as it is with 1 minute 30 on the clock.
It's impossible with the new rules that we're playing on with the regulation draw. The clock does no longer pause now when you pick up the EMP. It also doesn't pause when the EMP is resetting, so even if they were to get in a cap, they'd have to wait 10 seconds, and there's now only 80 seconds left, so that means 60 seconds waiting of caps and 19 seconds to sprint it 6 different times towards the point. So it is now physically impossible for 22 Esports to come out on top in this map. So playing to keep their guns warm, and I think Meg's playing for another deadcom or two.
Yeah, so quick maps, mate. Very proud. Thank you. It's going to be a case of just trying to keep the thumbs warm in this one, because unfortunately for 22, this is a map that they're again on overload, just going to have to try and forget really and look forward to that next map. There might be an opportunity for a consolation capture here, but it's still going to be difficult with all these players pushing just so far up the map and just taking every single chow that they take. Jackal's able to get one before he goes down, but they can just potentially push up again towards P5. Another pick on the board for Soldat. He's not really had a huge contribution in terms of kills with 11 and 19, but when you look across the board at his teammates, Blake almost double positive. The same with Quinn. Jack 18 and 13, rocking all pretty much close to a 1.5. It is, very much doom and gloom for 22.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the damage stats at the end of this map to see kind of what the damage is like for that 22 team. Are they getting the bullets in? It's just the kills aren't going their way, or are they literally not even getting the bullets in? As we see Meg popping 2, looking to chow the 3rd. She will chow it. I think she's got the kill. Will she get the 4th?
Oh, there it is. There you go.
Audio cue gave it. I even closed my eyes at that point to know she got the kill.
You just knew it was coming, didn't you? 4-piece. Unfortunately, it's the only positive. She's now on a 5 streak, but with only a few seconds left on that overtime, there's not really much you can do with it, unfortunately, through all the trials and tribulations. Yeah, that is one, the X-Force. Look at that. I can't believe it. Jack, obviously taking the mickey a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair from the X-Force guys, you know.
Very good.
I think Meg's doing it for a reason, trying to keep the team going, keep that passion flowing, but obviously the Eagles know that they've just won 6-0, and I mean, it was like an S&D score, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was brutal. I'd say the first half, when it went to 4, and there was still, 1.5 minutes left, maybe? Yeah, it was brutal. You look across the damage, and a total game time of 8 minutes 20, so that was quick. Obviously respecting time at the pub, really. So 27 and 15, very good scores across the board there for X-Force Eagles, and again, just kind of underlying information of what they can bring to that game mode. And unfortunately 22 Esports now, they just have to look towards that Blackheart hard point, which they have been very, very good on, it must be said, and they're going to have to be very good on it again to take this map away from X-Force Eagles, because unfortunately if they don't do it, X-Force Eagles will take this first best of 5 and the championship. Yeah,
I think maybe one of the hopes for 22 here is that actually one of the sub players and Soldat on that exposure, obviously it's exposure, so it's a very different map to Blackheart where the ARs kind of dominate, but Soldat was actually the least damage in the lobby across the 2 teams, so maybe one of their sub players might start off a little bit slow on the X-Force Eagles, and 22 will look to try and take control of that. But I mean, we've had 3 maps so far and we've had 3 kind of blowouts, so it's anyone's guess as to what's going to happen next. Apart from, it's probably going to be a blowout.
Yeah, well, you're anticipating that the sub players going to be taking every single chow possible on this one, as we see the highlights of that one, which pretty much the kill feed just constantly red until literally the last 30 seconds, where Meg blessed us with at least 4 in a row, and then potentially the 5th, I think it was in the end, wasn't it? So yeah, this is a case of Blackheart. You're anticipating a fast mixy game mode, and I suppose because of how regimented the X-Force Eagles do look on some of these maps, having a map like Blackheart where you can obviously just headbang some of the time, flip spawns, try and make it as messy as possible, this is at least an opportunity for them to try and make this map as scrappy as it can typically be.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're hoping for 22 now, isn't it? You need to start off quick. If you start off slow, your head's going to be down even further. You've just lost 6-0. You're off the back of a high in that S&D. You took the break in between map 2 and 3, and you came straight in, and immediately it was all X-Force. I think they were 3-0 up in, a minute and 10 seconds in that round, so it didn't take them long at all. They had strong those kills together, and Blackheart, again, similar to what you just in the Overload, with slightly different game mode, of course, but you can string the hills together very quickly. It's very easy to see a map go 250-50, as easy as it is to see a map go 250-240, so it's going to be interesting, and 22 do need to make sure, if they rotate early, they're able to hold on to their first half of the time. X-Force, if they're rotating early, 22 needs to make sure they're breaking as quick as possible.
Yeah, and I think kind of you know what you're going to get from the likes of Meg and Jackal in terms of the slaying. It's very rare that they do actually have a bad map when it comes to respawns, but on the flip side, you've got to look at kind of Deeks as well, running sub. He's going to be up against obviously a very, very good set of submachine gun players on that X-Force roster, so him, Roland, you're looking to them to really try and be a little bit of an X factor for this roster as we get ready in towards this map.
Yeah, and typically on Blackheart you now have a 3 sub meta, sometimes particularly on your P3, P4, maybe even a P5 you might have 2 ARs again, but some teams prefer to keep 2 ARs across the whole map, so you might even see a slightly slightly different variation of kind of who has what gun, and is it going to be two ARs, 2 subs on one side, and 3 subs on the other side? I'm not sure, but P1 is normally a sub bang out, and there's also going to be an nade and stun bang out, as we're seeing Blake open things up with an nade, and 2 of his teammates coming back through quickly with kills, and it's going to be Soldat, who did win picked up on, have a bit of a slow map 3, but starting 2-0 here doesn't look like it's going to make a difference to him.
Yeah, Meg going to try and put some damage out to those players in towards P1. Meanwhile, Deeks is going to try and push his way in towards Dubs. He should be able to get a bit of damage maybe into one of the players. No, he's going to get shut down relatively quickly, and a big 2-piece from Quinn as he's just hopping and skipping around P1. He's got a little bit of help. There's another one for him with the hand of Blake, and now opportunity strikes for them to try and push out towards P2. They're already trying to get right up in the face of 22, and it's going to be good work there from Jackal as he gets a really important 2-piece.
Yeah, that second kill was even more important than the first because his teammates hadn't spawned up behind him at P2, so if he was to fall, he would have flipped the spawns completely, and with X-Force Eagles taking the first 30 seconds, the last thing 22 wanted to do was be spawning all the way out towards P5 when P2 is about to pop.
Yeah, Jackal over towards Dubs is going to potentially hit a little bit of a late pinch here, so if he's going to go, he's going to have to try and go quickly. You've got 2 players in the time, number 2 in Quinn, already going to be there, but now the contest comes in. How many can Jackal get? He's going to fly out on towards both players, and unfortunately makes both of them one shot, doesn't get the kill. 22 Esports still waiting for their first second on time, and already the spawn's going to potentially benefit X-Force Eagles here, because you do have that late hitter in Soldat, as he's going to now try and push around 2 players, mops them up like absolutely nothing, and this is looking a little bit brutal here. I know it's early days, Con, but this is getting very, very rough now.
This is what I mentioned, wasn't it, at the start. The Black Heart is one of those maps that, depending on how you're playing and how the team are feeling, it can be a really close nail biter, or, as I've been on the receiving end a few times, I'm sure you have as well, it can be a complete blowout. So far, 22 Esports have got 0 seconds on hill. You've got player 8 Deeks. He's going to be playing Becky for Nu, trying to block those P3 spawns, but you've already got 2 players hunting him down with the split spawns coming in, and 22 now starting spawn on the top side of our map towards that P4, whereas now on the bottom side of your map, the P2 to P5 side of it, your X-Force Eagles trying to fly at the hill.
Big trade. Well, there you go. First second on the board finally after the first 2 hills for 22 Esports. The pistol chow's going to be good enough for Blake as he goes on to 4 in a row. He's going to go ring around the rosy. It's actually going to be his teammate that is going to take him down, and a couple of kills coming through for 22, so they are going to soak what is probably going to be their best amount of time that we've seen so far, and it's going to be an opportunity now for them to maybe claw back some of this huge deficit that unfortunately they've kind of dug for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that sub is warm, isn't it? It just shows that it kind of, his struggles in that last map was probably just kind of the map he was playing on. I mean, look at that kill. He's definitely not cold on the sticks, is he? 11 and 5 now. A turn on there. The Hellstorm was invested by the Eagles. They're going to soak up the remaining 20 seconds. And look at player 2. That's Quinn. He's already pushed on towards Nu. That's going to spawn them slightly further away, which gives the intel that they're already flying across this map. And it's going to be Soldat again through mid with the picks. And if they can collapse on this with Soldat on the pinch, he's going to fall. But Blake, and I think that's Quinn on the time with the first opening too. It's only Meg left alive at Nu, and it's a 106-19 match. Yeah,
and we're just seeing every single time that somebody seems to take a chow, there's always at least a trade nearby. If not, they win the gunfight. Soldat just roaming around the map at this point in time. 15 and 6 from him. They're still going to look for Roland in the back here. The chow comes through, but they just can't seem to win any gunfights at the moment. And with 45 seconds left on this hill, and those players now just constantly staggering spawns, there's another 2 players that are going to come off late off spawn again. Soldat is completely commanding the middle of the map. Nobody seems to be crossing the middle line of this map at the moment on Black Heart, because he is just stopping anyone that flies in, and Soldat is sending them back to Milan, because 6 in a row now for him. His teammates have him to thank for a lot of map control and a lot of time.
Yeah, that's kind of the danger, isn't it? When you've got one person hard blocking and players like Soldat in the kind of the killing mood he's in, as Chakra gets a ridiculous 2-piece in the back. I would be surprised if we don't start to see multiple players on this X-Force Eagles team start to earn streaks, and they're now less than 100 points away from their good share of £3,000 prize money in this grand final.
This hill is pretty much everything now for 22, and unfortunately they've not won the initial gunfights. Jackal waiting for the team. Everyone's going to potentially try and hit this wall run, but it can be difficult here if you do it one at a time. The kill feed is so red time after time. It's another 4 dead. It's another opportunity for pretty much a damn near perfect hold here from X-Force Eagles, and they are in flight at the moment. 22 Esports are just being ran into the ground. They're trying their best to keep their hopes alive here. Jackal goes in, he goes down. Meg's going to jump off the map. It probably would have been the same outcome as anyway if she stayed on the map. So 185 plays 19, and this is not pretty.
I don't think ever it might not still happen, but I don't think I've ever really seen on a first rotation 200 points scored by one team. But if X-Force Eagles can hold on to the remaining 10 seconds, which it looks like they're going to do, only Roland's really channeling that time, although it is going to go white as I say it. So ignore me, they're not going to see 200 points on the first rotation, but if 22 Esports win from here, you might as well give them the prize money now, because what a comeback this would be.
Yep. They're still trying to regain here at the moment, 22 Esports. Again, it's still not impossible until it hits 250, but it's so difficult if they're not getting kills. One kill comes through, two for Roland. Meg gets one as well, but unfortunately Roland falls, so the contest will still be here at least for X-Force Eagles. And 22 now backs up against the wall, have to try and just keep this momentum going, but at the same time they've got to keep an eye on these players that can just opt to take long routes. It's going to be sold out again in towards the hill. He grabs one. Can he grab the second and the third? Almost. The pistol just about enough for that final one, but it's going to be 204 plays 31, a little bit better from 22. At least they've stopped the rot for now, but they're not getting their own time to go for it.
What's more important when sold that three-piece there is actually, because he hit that pinch and was able to get a couple of the kills, he then flipped the spawn straight away because he'd pinch around the back of that P2 door to go in towards P1, and there's no 22 players blocking because they're so focused, knowing what that score is, they're seeing it on their screens. 219 now plays 34 as the final tick comes through before we head to P2. It looks like X-Force Eagles could close it out here if Soldat can slay out in mid like he did in that first rotation. Blake with through the Hellstorm. You can see someone hard blocking now. You're going to see them pushed up to that halfway lane. If they cross it, you're going to spawn them towards the back of it. But look at this pressure from Sun Lane 8 and 6. That is Quinn and Soldat. Two players have had a stellar grand final.
15 seconds and this one's done. Jack still holding strong. Soldat in mid, where he's pretty much been the whole map long. X-Force Eagles, they are soaring over the finish line here at this tournament. They've got to try and touch 22, but with 4 seconds left and a dream that is pretty much shattered. X-Force Eagles, the contest comes through. He's had to put his headset back on. I think it's done now. No, it's not. We're still going. So we've actually
22
and gone back. What on earth is happening to our brains at the moment? 22, still alive, still digging in. This is like goal line saves after goal line saves, but unfortunately the ball crosses the line. X-Force Eagles will be your ESHUB Spring Invitational champions, and my God, what a team.
Yeah, I mean, that grand final, we saw 4 blowouts in every single map. It happened that 22 was the one that did it in the S&D, but X-Force Eagles come from the winners bracket, proved too strong for 22 on the day today.
Wow. So commiserations there to 22. They had a hell of a run through that losers bracket. They obviously will still pick up some prize pool money, but I mean, when you look at that map from start to finish, kind of that Blackheart was a statement map. We obviously saw the overload 6-0, absolutely impeccable from them, but that Blackheart was just absolutely phenomenal. You see the kills there. I say Soldat, absolutely phenomenal, 27 and 16, and he was the man just constantly running around mid, stopping any sort of hill rotations, pinches. The clips are just going to be him getting 2 pieces in around P1. He was absolutely phenomenal in that final map.
I think something to touch on, I think it's credit to Soldat as well, is earlier on in the day he had a bucket behind him. He wasn't feeling too great going into their winners final game, but he's come out this afternoon. You would not have known that if I hadn't told you or you hadn't been here today. And I mean, all players on X-Force Eagles have really showed their worth there in different parts and different modes, but I mean, what a team performance. And again, 22 Esports, we've seen it from them all day. They've done brilliantly to start at 9 o'clock. I think maybe a bit of fatigue kicked in towards the end as well. They've been going for 12 hours. X-Force Eagles have had a few less games, which, you know, can be an advantage in some ways, but they've kept warm. They've had teams scrimming them in the back, so they've been able to keep those guns going. And I mean, yeah, you saw what happened in the map 4. We don't need to keep bagging on about it, do we? Yeah,
I say it's been a phenomenal tournament all weekend long, and it only makes sense that a phenomenal team takes home the trophy, and it will be X-Force Eagles. So as we see the highlights, which are pretty much going to be X-Force Eagles over and over, it's just such a good opportunity to obviously say, I mean, Connor, it's been a phenomenal tournament with all the help from everyone across the staff. Obviously the fans as well, constantly showing out in numbers and getting everything going. It's just been brilliant here again at the University of Staffordshire.
Yeah, I think a big shout out to students. Obviously you don't see everything on the stream, kind of what we see, but there's a room of 15-20 people that, you know, have their moments of complete stress, but I think they're all now taking a deep breath, knowing that we're in the last few stages of the game and we're getting ready for the trophy lift with our champions, X-Force Eagles, going back to back for the org. It's not the same team, but the org going back to back. Trix is somewhere rubbing his hands together.
Yeah, so I think the guys are ready for the trophy list. We're just going to wait a little bit longer. I mean, yeah, commiserations there to 22. It's a difficult one to take, but yeah, I mean, the way they've gone through that bracket has been absolutely brilliant. But I mean, the people at the moment, they're obviously going to be X-Force Eagles. Done it in 4. Obviously, the Search and Destroy a bit of a hiccup, Connor, but I say apart from that, they were absolutely tremendous. And I believe we might be ready for the trophy lift. So yeah, your winners of the ESHUB Spring Invitational powered by AV&G are going to be the boys of X-Force Eagles.
Hey! There he is, big man Heffy on the screen.
Can we go with the pop?
No, I think. Oh, there we go.
Hola amigos, we're not quite done yet. The trophy's been handed over to the X-Force Eagles who've won, but we do have one more little bit of aplomb to do. Obviously, ESHUB Spring Invitational was powered by AV&G, so I'd like to invite Shieldsy, from owner of AV&G, to come up and have the honour of choosing and presenting the MVP. I've got a headset on, brother. So ad hoc, guys, don't worry. So mate, it's been a long 2 days and we've seen the X-Force Eagles absolutely dominate right the way through. 22 esports have come from one of the most hellish losers bracket runs we've seen in a while. Though Div Land's been incredible. Man, who are you going to give the honour to?
He fried, even though they lost the second map, the S&D, he still top fragged the lobby. And he pretty much ran the overload. So I think it has to go to Quinn.
To Quinn, yeah. I'm not just that, like, Quinn, shout out, come over from the Netherlands, maybe the spiritual successor to Jay Enrico, I don't know, but absolute work. If you want to just come up and shield, he's going to hand you the MVP trophy.
Come on, son. Former teammate as well, by the way. Well done, mate. Well done.
Well done, mate. Thank you. Cheers, Shieldsy.
Cheers.
And we'll hopefully see you in the summer. So we've come 2 long days, 12 hours each day. I want to give a big shout out to the staff and students of the University of Staffordshire. Sam, Tom, Matt, Jack, Josh, and a numerous amount of other names I don't know, and obviously the admin and refs. But obviously the org owners, the players who are in the Ember Lounge having pints, the spectators, everyone else. It's not quite over. All you've got to do is book your hotels, get your team pass, because we're going to be back in 3 months' time, and now we can all go for a pint. Thank you very much.